gas station attendant called the cops. 2 officers arrived on the scene. Now, this young lady feeling like, hey, this is an accident. I'm insured. This is going to be a deal for Geico to take care of. The cops come, and one of the officers who took the lead was actually in training, we would come to find out as we were watching all the video and going through everything. Our client spoke with the gas station attendant, apologized, gave her insurance information, and then when the cops came, the gas station attendant actually said she is very calm and polite for somebody who just caused an accident. I think she's on drugs, being calm and polite. So the cops smelled some cannabis, asked her if she smoked. Unfortunately, she said, I smoked the bowl this morning, and it was now 6 p.m. at night. So she didn't STFU, and the officer in training would then turn the body cam off and on at certain points throughout the investigation. And during the course of the investigation, this person unfortunately did the field sobriety test, which in California are voluntary. Google your state. She did those tests. I saw the videos. I say she passed them. The cop said she didn't and arrested her. Now, after they arrested her, they went into the car to search, because after you're arrested without a warrant, they can go into your car, search incident to a lawful arrest, and they found a vial of cocaine that actually belonged to her boyfriend. So they find the cocaine, they bust her for this BS cannabis DUI and the cocaine. We are able to run motions. The city prosecutor initially wanted jail time, and I'm screaming and yelling, this is not a DUI. This is a freaking accident. It was a car accident. Your cops smelled some pot. This person said she smoked, and now all of a sudden, everybody's going all crazy, and you want her in jail. So we file our motions. We did a motion to dismiss a 1538 attacking, first time we've done this, the actual DUI stop, and poking holes in that, saying, this is BS. She never should have been arrested. Therefore, you never should have searched, and you never would have found the coke. So we had all these motions set yesterday. We're ready to go. It's also set for trial. We're ready to go. The prosecutor said, oh, wet, reckless. No. If you want to offer a car accident and the corresponding vehicle code, then we could do that. And ultimately, after about an hour of back and forth argument and chambering with the judge, we cut the deal. Hopelessness, why dismiss? We ultimately got that deal. Now, here's the kicker. After we were all done, the prosecutor came up to me out of court and said, I'm thinking of coming over to the other side. Can you help me out? I want to be a private criminal defense attorney. And I think the shellacking that he took from us really kicked him over the edge, because it was one of those things where his supervisors were telling him, you've got to figure this out and do something. We're throwing you into the wolves. So we took care of it, got the case dismissed, and it's shut the fuck up Friday. And I want to remind everybody, remember these 25 words. Why did you pull me over? I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained, or am I free to go? I invoke the fifth. And then shut the fuck up and Google your state's DUI laws, whether or not you have to do the field sobriety test, on-site breathalyzer. A lot of states, those are voluntary. So learn those laws, be safe going into the weekend, and shut the fuck up when cops ask questions.
Man, oh man, Mark. I mean, oh.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
When you say that these tests are voluntary, are they really voluntary? Or if I say no, am I going to go sit in a jail cell while I try out or whatever they think I need to do?
So in California and a lot of other states, they are absolutely voluntary. And cops are actually supposed to tell you, these are voluntary, but they don't. These are for me to find out and to help you to make sure you're okay. So they're absolutely voluntary. You should never, ever do them because you will fail. It's subjective. And if you go like this and touch your nose right here, well, now you're off about a centimeter and they're going to say you missed it. And that's what they use to now say you're impaired, because chances are they didn't pull you over for going all crazy. They pulled you over because you didn't use your blinker or you were speeding. So absolutely voluntary in a lot of states, along with the on-site breathalyzer. Then after arrest, that's where they get you. If you refuse the chemical test, then like here in California, DMV will take your license for 1 year under the implied consent law. And that runs across different states. I know there are a few states where if you refuse the field sobriety test, they take your license. So that's why it's just important, especially when you're traveling to different states and driving around, you want to know those laws.
I guess I don't understand your clarification there. So yes, they will just say, go on your merry way. You didn't take the test? No.
Oh, no. Oh, no. The cop's going to get pissed. And he's going to tell you, what? You can't help me try to figure out if you're okay? This is going to go where I'm going to arrest you if you don't do those tests. And then
and so what? You should let them arrest you.
Absolutely. Because guess what?
Okay.
You're going to do the test. They're going to arrest you anyway.
Exactly. They're always going to arrest you. That's what they do.
Read so many police reports where that's what they say. And then that's what they do after the client complies. And I thought you said you weren't going to arrest me. No. So you can't fall for those tricks.
Okay. Well, maybe it's, cute white girl here. I have been pulled over, asked to do a sobriety test. I did one. I was pissed as hell when I got pulled over, and you're absolutely correct. I was pulled over because of a taillight out. But I was coming out of a bar at the end of, it was like maybe 1 a.m, but I had just gotten off my shift working the news, so I didn't get off till midnight. I had one drink, and the guy's telling me he can smell it on me. And I'm like, seriously, you gonna make me do this? Let's do this. And he let me go. I gave
You're
him
a girl.
I gave him some attitude about it, but like you said, I am a whatever.
You're a girl.
They let me go, but I gave him a lot of grief about him making me do it to begin with.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
And the cops routinely abuse their power when they're conducting DUI investigations. Like, I think Mark is talking about they cannot make you do the stupid pet tricks known as field sobriety test, but they can make you submit to chemical testing. And sometimes they do roadside chemical testing with pseudoscientific equipment that is not really calibrated and cannot really give you scientifically accurate results. But I had a case once where my client was driving the vehicle and, they wanted my client to do a field sobriety test. And so the cop, my client is sitting in the vehicle. The cop comes up on the driver's side, and then there's a man, standing right next to her. And then he tells her, you got to blow in this device. And he has the PAS device, and he puts it right in front of his hips, and he has her blow the device, so and the boyfriend is right next to her. And they're both outraged that she had to submit to that abuse of police power where basically she has to blow him in order to be set free.
She blew him.
Man. She blew him, huh?
Well,
That's
she blew
ridiculous.
the pass. Yeah, she blew the pass device.
Oh, the path.
That's called a preliminary alcohol screening device, and it's based on junk science. It's a bunch of bullshit, but the DMV can't take away your license if the cops do have probable cause to believe that you are under the influence, and then they ask that you take it. And if you refuse, you have a choice of chemical testing. It could be blood, breath, or urine. And so generally, like if you've been using cannabis, probably the best thing to use would be if you've been using recently, do the urine test because they can't tell how recently you've been using. And if you have not been using recently, don't do the urine test, do the blood test because that's going to be exculpatory. Mark, what do you think?
Test too?
I agree 100% with everything Omar just said. That's the way to do it if you're in that situation. And again, I reiterate, wherever you are in the country, learn those laws, know the DUI laws as they pertain to cannabis and alcohol. If you have any cannabis in your blood, it's a DUI, period.
Hey, Mark, what if you're on a bird scooter? Can you
That's
get
a motor
arrested for
vehicle.
DUI? Okay.
That's a motor vehicle. It has a motor.
Yes.
It's electric motor vehicle.
Same with a boat.
That's why you have to wear a helmet.
On a bird scooter.
Yeah, on a bird. That's right.
Everybody
is
has
very,
a bird
very
scooter.
right.
I've never seen anybody on a bird scooter with a helmet.
I mean,
Hey, you guys have a happy Shut the Fuck Up Friday. Thanks for having me. I got to join my dad, who's 89 and about to hit 90 miles an hour in the batting cages.
yes.
Nice.
Happy birthday to Big Papa Wasserman, man.
Thank
Tell
you,
him
guys.
Tell him to knock one out of the park
Nice.
for us, Mark.
There'll be
Yes.
homers today.
Yes.
Knock it out of the park.
Oh, we're going to go to a quick commercial. We're going to be right back.
Let's do it.
How's it going, guys? Saman Razani coming to you from Green Street here with Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast available on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify? Tune in now and check it out.
Oh, yeah. Coming up next, that's right. We have the dope dad himself. That's right. Rico Lamitte, who may have some internet. Internet may be working over there today. He hasn't had one file up yet. So we're all just waiting for the internet gangbangers to come by and come shoot up his place and freeze him up. But we shall see how long his stream can stream. That's right. It is the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
My stream is very strong today, Jason. As of now. So in February, Twitter became the first social media platform to allow cannabis advertising. It even offered a 6-week incentive to jumpstart cannabis ad sales, matching new ad spending up to $250,000 on a 1-to-1 basis through the end of this month. With the first month now behind them, the first movers to try their luck, they're checking in with mixed results. It's important to note that ads from our industry face a ton of restrictions on the platform. Mainstream businesses do not. After first needing to apply for prior authorization from Twitter, companies need to be licensed in the states that they operate in and can only target people who are at least 21 in those markets. The trickiest part is that Twitter policy prohibits promotion of drugs and drug paraphernalia, but it does allow the same businesses to promote their brands and services. So of course, it didn't take long for the first ads to get shut down. And the story from MJ Biz highlights a few of those. On the first day, Hemprico, a company that sells subscription filled with cannabis accessories, had its account disabled within 3 hours. Hemper CMO Angel Ferrer said he wasn't running anything he thought should be disabled. We weren't showing smoke. We had a product with the box. It's not like they even reached out and offered direction. We want to spend and know that advertising is drying up on these platforms. Our money is green just like everybody else's. Even after the first setback, Ferrer said that EVP of marketing for Curaleaf had a more positive experience as one of the first to launch a Twitter ad campaign right out the gate. The campaign showed a vividly colored pulsating backdrop with the text, "Click it for better cannabis." The ad ran for 2 weeks so the company could test whether it would result in clicks to its website. We see this as a strong brand awareness play for us. We're getting millions of impressions and clicks. What we're not seeing is those clicks turning into sales. But that's not the purpose of the campaign. The purpose was to get more eyeballs on Curaleaf, and we succeeded there. Lynch said that she's excited to have a new channel to promote the company's products, and the team will create new content and revive that ad soon. Purple Rose Supply makes molding kits for joints and cigars. They're based out of Las Vegas, and like Curaleaf, also measuring success by click-throughs from ads to its website. Although 10% of Purple Rose's budget is devoted to marketing, CMO Ravina Shima says it's too soon to tell how much of that will be going to Twitter ads. The company said that they submitted a video ad aimed to show which burned faster, a joint or a Canagar rolled with one of its kits. The ad was not approved. Shima said that the ad did not go through because it may have been ineligible. When a platform opens up and allows something like this, we should take advantage of it. I think because there's a lot of potential, but it's just too early. Some industry marketing experts say other platforms will likely follow Twitter's lead. Others believe the ads won't really open up until federal legalization hits. Rosie Matteo, founder and CEO of Matteo Communications, is part of the first group. There's always fear of missing out. They all track each other. Real ad dollars are being spent and advertising on social networks across the board is down. You can't click and buy, but you can direct people to stores for events, education days, and promos. You can facilitate a sale without facilitating a sale on the platform. The big question here nobody's really answering is, how will companies see or measure the true return on their investments? You're spending real dollars on real ads on the biggest platform available, so why not? While companies like Curaleaf and Purple Rose can determine how many clicks that they get on their websites with Twitter ads, they can't tell if they're even converting to sales. Sounds to me like a lot of companies are jumping through the same sketchy hoops that they had to before on other platforms, spending money without really knowing for sure how effective the campaign was or if they'll get kicked off the platform or not. While advertising on Twitter can create brand awareness, you still can't sell directly because they won't let you connect to the platforms that do sell your shit. Lisa Buffo, founder and CEO of Cannabis Marketing Association, says that main stations with smaller budgets and less options make it harder for cannabis companies to perform. The average cannabis business annual marketing budget is $50,000 or less, and that operator is under a lot more pressure to show a return on investment than mainstream companies. Even if they're going to spend on new platforms, they're running small tests to see if it works. Number one thing they're concerned about is targeting adults in legal markets. It falls on the brand to establish that. Now, personally, I do have to say that I found it weird that the two companies highlighted in the article that either got kicked off, Emper, or had an ad denied, Purple Rose, were both ancillary. But Curaleaf, on the other hand, actually sells weed, and they didn't seem to have any issues at all. We're only a month into the Twitter ad game, and I'm sure there'll be lots more kinks to work out, but I'm interested in hearing y'all's take. Has anybody else tried Twitter? I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. You try to run anything on there yet, Jason?
I have not seen any ads for any cannabis on Twitter. But at the same time, whenever I see sponsored, I just keep scrolling up.
True.
Well, I would say
funner ways of burning dollars.
Right. Like if you don't get the data back, like we're in the digital age, man. It's kind of hard to justify spending a ton of money on that.
Okay, well, here at Panoptic Strategies, we are actually wading into the Twitter ad war for clients, trying to figure it out. And I agree with everyone else on this article who says it's too damn early. I love y'all to death. However, you guys get all pissy when something doesn't happen overnight. Come on. We have to figure it out. You got to see how it's going to go. Yes, Rico Lamitte, I'm looking at you.
I said the kinks got to be worked out. Did I not just say that?
I mean, good Lord. Everyone's like, oh, why isn't this working immediately? Come on. It was great.
My God.
The fact that this is even happening is a good thing. And it's going to take some time. And don't start with the whole conspiracy theory about this company versus this company got kicked off. Whatever. Let's look at it. It's been what, a couple weeks? Give them a break.
That's all I said.
It's just we got to mark it down. This is a second time I'll have to agree with Gretchen Gailey. 100%. I was excited when I saw it. Couldn't wait to hear some results back, and it's kind of interesting what we've heard back so far. And I have to agree with what was said in the article too. Like the most frustrating thing on any of these social platforms when dealing with cannabis and getting your accounts taken down is there's no one to talk to. There's no like, this is what you did. If you changed, if you change it like this, it could run fine. But because you did this, it didn't. You just don't know. And you're just like, you're done. You're turned off. I've lost Facebook ads like a year ago over trying to promote just a simple teaser for Hitting the High Road, promoting as an educational show. They took me down just for trying. Like I message. I was like, what can I do? And it was like, we're not talking to you. You're done.
Yeah, we can't even sell our hemp shit.
Yeah.
You try to like our hemp clothing on every platform get kicked off, and we had to do everything tongue in cheek. We don't sell weed. You can't smoke. I mean, you can try smoking the hoodies, but you're high.
When I worked at New Frontier, we ran into the same problem 1,000 times, and we're pushing reports and data. But I can't say cannabis. I can't say marijuana. You got to come up with creative ways to do this stuff. And Stone is 1,000% correct. Zero customer service on trying to figure out what you're doing wrong. And these companies aren't working with you to figure out how to do it right. It's all trial and error. And until they really look at this industry as a good place to make money selling ads, they're not going to put that effort into it. And we just got to suck it up.
At Panoptic Strategies, are you guys already trying to run ads?
Yes. Not for me personally, but for clients. Yes, we are looking at how to do it. And we're working with them to figure it out. It's going to take some time.
I have a serious question. Stone, what is up with your T-shirt, bro?
Texas Prison Rodeo.
I was at it at Willie Nelson's ranch for the
like a
Letter
sexual
reunion.
innuendo.
Is that a real thing?
It is a real thing.
Does the winner get set free?
I don't know. It seems like it would be like a Burt Reynolds movie set in like late 80s, late 70s or something, but I don't know. I saw it at Willie's place. I was like, I gotta have that T-shirt.
I think it sounds like an innuendo. Yeah. I mean, I just want to know if whoever wins, if they get set free.
That's a great question. We need to find that out.
To find that out.
Talking too much about that shirt is gonna get you in a trap. All right, we're gonna keep this party going. And up next, we have our very own Washington insider and PETA's most wanted for 2023 so far. She's been on the run from PETA agents all over the nation for dogs in the ugliest sweaters and the ugliest hoodies on earth. But you know what? She's here to give us a little bit of insider news. Maybe from Russia, maybe not. Come to the stage first. After me is Gretchen Gailey.
My dogs love their pajamas, and Sean Kiernan will be happy to hear I did find a set large enough for Bowser. They will be coming his way shortly.
Oh my God, more animals and ugly fucking outfits.
They love them. They love them. Anyway, my headline, and I'm going to try and keep it semi-short for y'all. Major Alcohol Industry Association calls for federal marijuana legalization, recommending regulatory framework. This is coming from Marijuana Moment. Major Alcohol Industry Association is officially backing federal marijuana legalization, sending a letter to congressional leadership on Wednesday that implores lawmakers to regulate adult use cannabis at the federal level. The Wine and Spirit Wholesalers of America said that the current conflict between state and federal law is not only causing adverse consequences for consumers and non-consumers of cannabis, but will also have long-term public health and safety costs that are too great to ignore. I'm going to skip ahead to what they are actually suggesting. Number one, the federal permitting of cannabis producers, importers, testing facilities, and distributors. The association said states should manage licensing for marijuana retailers, but it recommended that the federal government require permits for cannabis producers, importers, testing facilities, and distributors through the Department of Treasury's Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. Number two, the approval and regulation of cannabis products. They said new cannabis products should be subject to pre-market approval and federal registration, also through the TTB. That would support existing quality control policies that are in place at the state level. A standardized label should be included on all marijuana items too. They should feature information at a minimum about the product name, THC potency, net content, producer name and address, and a government health warning and the country of origin for those who are importing. Number three, the efficient and effective collection of a federal excise tax. They advise that a federal excise tax should be imposed for cannabis products at the producer or importer level, and it should be based on potency, just as beverages are taxed based on alcohol concentration. The taxes should be payable to the TTB on a semi-monthly basis. And number four, effective measures to ensure public safety. With respect to public safety, the association focused on deterring impaired driving and said that lawmakers should prioritize collaborative partnerships with law enforcement and researchers to develop technology that can identify active impairment from cannabis while also funding training for drug recognition experts on the roads. That's all I'm going to get into with this story. I would love to hear your opinions on whether or not you want the alcohol industry backing us up. We keep talking about that we need money in this space. Last year, I think cannabis put in about $5 million federal lobbying. These guys last year on their own, one association for alcohol did $1.5 million. So it might not hurt to have their money behind us. But I'm wondering if you guys agree with them. They are very much so a states' rights approach to cannabis. And do you want them backing you? And do you want their help in Washington? This is Gretchen Friday Night News.
I agree with all the stuff except for the DUI stuff because I don't believe that exists.
Okay.
I think we have no choice at this point. You gotta take that money, and just like I said in my article last week, big alcohol is best equipped to take over the adult use space. I do like dollars.
I do like the fact that they mentioned importation too, and that, that you would have to have the flag of the country of origin. And so that is going to be amazing once we have interstate trade for California cultivators to have that California flag, boom, right there on the label. And that way everyone knows it's California cannabis.
California's not a country yet, though, Jason.
Yeah,
He wishes it was, Omar.
Yeah,
just saying, Omar.
I mean, I'm down for the crossfade. and I hope that we can legally get the crossfade going pretty soon here.
I mean,
So go ahead, Omar. I can't hear you.
Omar, you're on mute. Omar, you're on mute, buddy.
What I don't like about the alcohol industry is that it's monopolistic and it's concentrated. It doesn't have a lot of diversity, except when it comes to like craft beer. So if we have a craft beer model, I'm all for it. But if we're just going to have, the big few tobacco or alcohol companies running the show, I'm not welcoming that.
Well, and that was going to be my next point. Back to you all, because I love to point fingers. You guys hate big pharma, so why do you love big alcohol all of a sudden?
I think we should stay out of that.
It's well, the thing about it is politics makes strange bedfellows, and the main enemy that we have is the pharmaceutical industry, not necessarily the alcohol beverage industry is not as big of an enemy as the pharmaceutical
because
industry.
You don't see him as a competitor.
Correct.
And also,
or no, they don't see us as a competitor anymore. They used to, but not anymore.
Well, we're not really. Frankly, from what I've seen with data, I don't think we're that big of a competitor either. I mean, people are not. My dad's not putting down his 6-pack on the weekend. I'm going to go try pot now.
No,
that's
but
not how it works.
But
so alcohol's not really
prior to any legalization, big alcohol always was nervous about cannabis legalization.
I know they were. I talked to those guys plenty of times. Yes.
So this is what I'm saying is at first they were like that. Now they have evolved on the issue because they've seen the truth and crossfade for the win. And so I'd rather work with alcohol than pharmaceuticals.
Well, and my concern would be, and this is kind of a question for Dr. Talleyrand, there's no mention here whatsoever about medical. How would the medical markets go forward?
Medical markets going to go forward with big pharma. That's where the money is on the medical side.
Do you think that's the answer, Dr. Talleyrand, that medical go that side, go that route?
Yeah. Medican will go with pharma.
Yeah.
Really?
I think you have to go with the industries that have the money. And going forward, like that's where we are.
Which means that it wouldn't be approved for quite a while. At least with alcohol, it will be approved now. Pharma accept cannabis because of the FDA.
Well, yeah, I mean, follow the money.
We have Malik up in the clubhouse audience to speak on this. Malik, what do you have to say about this? Malik, are you with us?
In the house.
There we go. Malik, what do you got to say about this?
We can't hear him.
Hold on, Malik. Hold on. Something. Try talking again, Malik.
Is that better?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm curious if Big Al gets in the game, will it help with those stories we're talking about with like advertising to children, since alcohol's is on sale in stores kids can frequent, and it doesn't seem to be an issue.
Did you guys get that? So he's saying with big alcohol,
marketing to children.
Yes, marketing to children. What do y'all think about that?
I mean, it's a good question. I think it's a good question, and there are some real questionable labels on alcohol brands and whatnot. But I do believe that the only way forward for a lot of these adult use companies and adult use retailers, they need money, and you can't survive in America right now with the margins the way that razor thin margins, and with taxes as high as they are. Like, how are you going to survive? Like, past next year, like if you were a small mom and pop shop in the cannabis industry, how are you going to survive? We have hyperinflation. You can't write anything off on your taxes, and without having one foot in the trap and one foot in like hoping that you get your license, like how are we going to move forward?
I get it. I just don't understand. This is it's like you've turned into an old white guy all of a sudden, Rico. This is just not what you've been saying at all for the past
I've
few
been saying it
years.
for the-
Now
I've been saying
we
it.
can't
The
live without big
backpedal-
money coming in.
The big old back pedal coming up.
Bullshit. I've been saying this is why I've been talking about reparations, period. I've been saying like this whole social equity thing has been a fucking lie. It's been wasting people's money. If you don't have reparations, how are you gonna even talk about any kind of generational wealth?
I do agree with that.
I'm not saying that big alcohol is going to offer an option, in the social equity lane. I don't know how that'll work out, like period. But I just think we need to stop fucking telling people that social equity is a path to generational wealth. That ain't going to happen. And if you want some kind of retribution for everything that happened to us and our communities in the past, we need to talk and get serious about reparations and all get on the same page about that.
Well, I'll tell you this much: social equity is definitely not a pathway to wealth and all of that, especially with no 280E removal. So, but we got to go to a commercial. We'll be right back.
Keeping up to date on the evolving policies of relevant state, local, and federal governments is key to success. When the future of your business is at stake, you need representation as dedicated as you are. With a maze of laws and regulations surrounding cannabis, hemp, and psychedelics, knowing where to begin can be a challenge. Good thing the law offices of Omar Figueroa features a skilled, highly focused team ready to guide you through it all. They're accepting new clients in California and New York. So make sure you check them out at info@omarfigueroa.com.
You read a disclaimer?
Any thoughts and opinions and general overall shade thrown on High at Nine News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at Nine News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. If you're an easily offended person, this show is probably not for you, and maybe you should partner up with Big Alcohol too. Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
Life is about choices. Stone Slade was given two. He could curl up under that bridge with the ATX Delta 8 D-Boys, or he can hit the high road. He chose the latter. Up next, y'all know who it is, the host of the show with the same damn name and fellow dope dad coming straight out of ATX, my man, Stone Slade.
Thank you, Rico. Today, my story comes out of Denver, Colorado. We all know how important cannabis education is, and that it comes in many different layers, from educating the casual consumer about terpenes and away from the bullshit hunt for the highest THC to dialing in the right cultivar and dosage for a medical patient, for a medical patient's individual needs. And of course, there's the children. There's also good cannabis education and bad cannabis education. A lot of us grew up in the good old just say no days when education was nothing more than scare propaganda. You'd go to school one day and there'd be cops there ready to scare you with drug stories and try to get you to rat on your parents. Excuse me. And who could forget those commercials? You remember the parents find the teenager's stash and the dad says, "Who taught you how to do this stuff?" And the kid replies, "You, all right. I learned from watching you." And of course, the visual of your brain is a melting pat of butter that only gets more delicious and becomes a fried egg when your brain's on drugs. I know when I saw that commercial, all I wanted to do was go make some eggs. I think it's safe to say that Nancy Reagan's 1980s Just Say No campaign was a complete failure, in part because, and I've said this before, one thing I believe that Nancy Reagan and the government fails to see is that when it comes to cannabis, by creating cannabis prohibition and by villainizing instead of normalizing and spreading lies like they did, they created this taboo around the plant that naturally draws the curious teenagers to the thing they're not supposed to do. In 2017, the city of Denver began the High Cost campaign, which is funded by cannabis tax revenue and aimed at educating the city's teenagers about cannabis. The initial contract for the program has expired and a new contract's been sought through a competitive bid process. In a presentation from city staff to the city council, a representative said that the goal of the campaign is to ensure that Denver youth have the facts about marijuana so they can make an informed decision not to use underage. So how effective has the high cost campaign been? Well, according to the information provided to the council, among teens aware of the campaign, 81% indicated that the high cost campaign discouraged them from using cannabis. Another 74% of teens engaged with online posts by liking, sharing, or talking about them with friends. The majority of teens agree that the high cost campaign has a clear message, is educational, trustworthy, and likable. Their data also showed that between paid media impressions and news stories generated, the campaign generated a publicity value of over $4 million, which included high cost and the Weeded Out game show being featured on CBS This Morning in 2018. The city council will vote this Monday on whether to pay $375,000 per year for 5 years to the Emily Company to create content for the campaign. According to background information in the agenda provided to the council by city staff, they're aiming to refresh the campaign in 2023 to continue to be relevant and connect with youth, particularly in middle school and priority populations at risk. The campaign will create new content to address new and emerging types of consumption, such as vaping or dabbing. They said a successful campaign will not employ scare tactics, but will use positive, engaging messaging to teach youth about marijuana laws and the potential social and psychological impacts of underage marijuana use. They went on to say the campaign will be grounded in positive youth developments and principles. I like what I'm seeing here. I mean, it's the exact opposite of what we had when I was a teenager. Maybe education like this would have curbed our curiosity as teens. I consumed cannabis as a teen point blank because I liked how it made me feel. I benefited from the positivity of the plant. In spite of that, it definitely helped me overcome certain anxieties, but I got to say at times it made me a pretty lazy kid that didn't get a whole lot done. And it wasn't until my mid to late 20s that I actually became more of a functional stoner. And I'm guessing that happened maybe because my endocannabinoid system had become fully developed. I don't know, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I'm Stone Slade reporting for the High at 9 News Hour.
I'd like to see this. I would like to see more like this, but and I hate to be like negative, like on a positive campaign there, but Colorado's 10 years in and they just came out with this.
2017, Rico.
Mm-hmm.
They waited a good 4 or 5 years.
They couldn't lead with the campaign like this.
Hey, listen, that's like Gretchen. Help Rico understand. It doesn't happen overnight, Rico. Okay.
Another white person's perspective, please give it to me.
Rico Lamitte.
Explain this to me, white lady, please.
This does not happen overnight, Rico Lamitte. Number one, they had to raise some money to see if they wanted to educate about this first. To see
if they wanted to educate.
Yeah,
right?
to see if they wanted to run this marketing campaign. Let's be honest. But like the other day, I did the education from the Department of Education, that webinar, which I urge some of y'all to do. I know Dr. Felicia was on there with me.
Why don't you throw the link in the chat, Gretchen?
It's over, Jason. The webinar happened.
Oh,
the point
can't
is,
watch it.
Dude, you're killing me. Can I
Go ahead.
speak? All right. My point was, it was not horrific until it got to, no offense, Dr. Talleyrand, one of your folks, a doctor from Harvard, who she went down the reefer madness hole like I'd never seen. And I'm like, lady, are you a doctor or not? It was intense about what she was saying. And
the woman
and
from
I
CDC, she kept on calling CBD non-psychoactive. Like, you're not supposed to be doing that.
Well, and also the
Was it
CDC
Uber?
also came in and said, oh, teen use is up. And then they went into their numbers on how it's up. And they're like, we see a great deal more usage in the 26-year-old bracket. And I'm like, how is teen use up? You're telling me everything's down except for this one age group, which aren't even teenagers. What the hell are you talking about? They did not respond to me, though. I tried.
They shut off the chat real quick, too.
But it was interesting. I mean, but truly, so many folks are really stuck in the reefer madness side of things. So if Stone, you're saying that this Colorado program spoke to you a bit more, I'm glad to hear that, because these folks on the at Biden's level, they are taking a playbook right out from Nancy Reagan in what they were promoting.
See,
it's scary. So I'm hopeful that the states will have better campaigns geared towards folks in their state and what they've seen in these programs.
What do you have to say on this, Dr. T? What were your thoughts?
Well, I'm just concerned about the education they're going to offer. Whenever you say education, it's a double-edged sword. Are you going to provide miseducation or education? There's a lot we don't know. And I think being honest about that is going to be important with this campaign.
Agreed.
Hey, that's one of the realest points I've heard anyone say in this on this topic, Dr. Talleyrand.
Stone, did it give more details about who's educating?
It didn't give the details, but just from what it sounds like it's something that's relatable to the teens, and it's something that they're absorbing it instead of laughing at it. I mean, those commercials back in the day still crack me up.
The kid melting on the couch.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like this is going in that direction. It sounds like they're focusing on proper education, and the important thing is that it's getting to them. So,
agreed.
Getting to the kids.
Two thumbs up.
Texas prison rodeo.
You can't get off that shirt, man.
I can't. It's just like so wrong in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving.
Let's go to that commercial. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, Stone. Oh, yeah. Coming up next. That's right. It is the doctor, Dr. Talleyrand, who's had more patients than pretty much anybody in cannabis, with more data than your computer. It is Dr. Talleyrand.
Thank you, Jason. Happy Friday, everyone. My story today is coming with a bit of sarcasm from WPDE ABC 15 News in South Carolina. The title is Medical Marijuana Used to Replace Opioids and Fight Addiction. So I'm from California. I gave my first medical cannabis recommendation in 1998. That's 25 years ago. The patient was in chronic pain. He handed me his prescription opiates and said, "I don't need these anymore." That's a rare statement from a chronic pain patient because most are addicted to prescription opioids. Usually the statement is, "I need more opiates." I asked the patient, "How are you managing your pain?" And he replied, "I use cannabis. I just need your recommendation." So 25 years later, I read this article and see that a news station in South Carolina considers it news that cannabis replaces opioids and fights addiction. We are in an age of rapid information. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok send messages around the world in an instant. But somehow the good people of South Carolina appear to think it's newsworthy that cannabis replaces opioids and fights addiction. The article goes on to explain that 37 states have legalized medical cannabis, and several of those states designated opioid use disorder as a qualifying condition, meaning cannabis could be used to fight addiction. Apparently, the good people of South Carolina are aware that most of the United States has already realized what they are just considering news. Matthew Campbell, COO of Cannabetta Farm out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, sells Delta-8 blunts and CBD flowers. He says, generally, it's prescription opioids, Percocet, stuff like that. You hear people coming in who don't want to take that stuff anymore because it's damaging to their bodies. You hear about people that stop taking all kinds of medicines. So I'm feeling like I've just come out of this time machine 25 years in the past. I look around and know I'm just in my kitchen reading the story from ABC News out of South Carolina. According to Recovery Research Institute, a Harvard Addiction Treatment Center, cannabis might have benefits to treat opioid addiction, but it's yet to receive FDA approval. I get it. The good people of South Carolina are just waiting for the FDA to tell them cannabis is safe. After evidence of thousands of years of cannabis use and a toxicity profile that is more benign than aspirin or Tylenol, the good people of South Carolina prefer to wait. Rather, they prefer to let people smoke Delta-8 blunts. South Carolina State Senator Greg Hembry of District 28 says the FDA approval is crucial because politicians are not medical doctors. If the research supports FDA approval, all you need is FDA approval, and I'm 1,000% for it, said Senator. He feels he sees too many lobbyists, people with commercial interests advocating for medical cannabis. I would rather debate recreational cannabis, he says. At least we know that's an honest debate. That's straight up. I wouldn't vote for it, but if the General Assembly voted for that, I wouldn't feel bad about that. As a medical cannabis bill passed through South Carolina's House Committee this last month, known as the Compassionate Use Act, which is the same name given to the California's bill 25 years ago. It also includes conditions such as cancer, Crohn's disease, PTSD, autism, and terminal illness. The bill will now head to Senator Hembry and the state Senate floor. We all know that Senator Hembry is not going to vote for it. He would rather wait until the FDA approves cannabis as safe before any dying patient in South Carolina has access to it. God forbid they die high. So I'm back from my visit to South Carolina. I hope things work out there. For those of you who enjoy historical trips, I recommend reading South Carolina News. What do you think? Will the good people of South Carolina approve medical cannabis? Is discussion of recreational cannabis a more honest debate? This is Dr. Jean Talleyrand reporting for High at 9 News.
It's a big positive in the right direction, and especially in South Carolina, the heart of tobacco country out there. So I think it's a positive. It's a plus.
1998 was the first time you wrote a recommendation, Dr. Talleyrand?
I'm old.
You are seasoned.
Man.
Well seasoned.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. 1998.
I thought
Dr. T, you don't look a day over 33 years old, man. 33.
Man, that is amazing. I love this story. I mean, the time capsule component, like I was being all of a sudden 25 years in the future. Like, here we go.
And we're still talking about whether it works or not.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think that I really liked what you were saying there also, Dr. Talleyrand, in regards to the let's have an honest conversation in regards let's debate it from an adult use consumption perspective as opposed to getting into the nitty-gritty on the medical side. And I think you're definitely going to win a lot more people's common sense arguments in regards to communicating it that way, because ultimately it's a plant. It's here. We consume lots of plants. Like everyone ate some broccoli or some spinach. You know what I'm saying? In the last 72 hours, similar type of thing.
Well, I definitely feel doctors need to be involved in terms of guiding people, but trying to get it through the FDA as medicine is definitely an impossibility.
Well, exactly. Well, anybody else want to comment on that one?
I think South Carolina will get legalization. I think they'll do it.
Senator Embry's not going to vote for it.
Well, the hell with them.
What about Nikki Haley, your girl, the presidential candidate?
Well, she would not be voting on this. This is a state issue.
She'll support it?
I don't think she'll take a position, frankly. I think she will hide from it.
Yeah. She's going to try to stay neutral as possible while DeSantis and Donald Trump duke it out.
I think she's holding out for Donald to be in jail and not have to deal with him.
Mm-hmm. Jason's quiet now.
No, stop it. We gotta keep it moving.
This ad.
Yeah. Run this. No, we don't have. We going right into Omar.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm just going shoot from the hip right here. Up next, we got the man with the bi-coastal boutique law firm and a purple belt in high style Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So if you fuck up the rotation when in the cipher, to break the wrist and walk away. Coming to the stage next, y'all know who it is, the man with the plan and the best voice in the game, Omar Figueroa.
Thank you, Rico. Happy Friday, everyone. My story is from the San Francisco Chronicle by Lester Black. The headline is Bay Area Cannabis Growth Linked to Chinese Organized Crime. Overseas Chinese organized crime groups are behind many of the illegal cannabis operations in Northern California, officials say. Chinese triads have been participating in illegal cannabis cultivation for several years in Northern California, David Hafner, a DCC spokesperson, said in an emailed statement. Triads is a term used for specific organized crime groups that have a long history in China and have been caught trafficking drugs around the world. Hafner declined to provide more details about the connections between Chinese organized crime groups and illegal cannabis growth in California. A recent political story found that Chinese involvement in American cannabis cultivation has recently grown. Law enforcement in Oklahoma told Politico that 75% of the illegal pot farms they've shut down are connected to Chinese investors and Chinese organized crime. Hafner confirmed that the DCC believes an Antioch cannabis growing operation raided in December when 4 homes were found with more than 16,000 illegal pot plants worth an estimated $14.8 million is linked to China. Chinese workers have long been found at illegal cannabis growth in the United States from Oklahoma to California, although many of these people appear to be victims of human trafficking. These workers are often forced to live in dangerous conditions and make very little money, according to an investigation by Searchlight New Mexico. The Department of Cannabis Control has increased its efforts to shut down the illegal cannabis market in California. In 2022, the agency led operations that eradicated more than 260,000 plants, more than 10 times the 19,000 plants eradicated in 2021. One of the largest raids recently occurred in January at an Oakland warehouse where law enforcement found multiple firearms and more than 30,000 marijuana plants. Hafner declined to comment when asked whether that raid was linked to Chinese criminal organizations. My take is that the San Francisco Chronicle is continuing its long history of reefer madness with this xenophobic article, which is short on facts and details. The article mentions that one of the largest recent raids occurred in January at an Oakland warehouse where law enforcement found multiple firearms and more than 30,000 marijuana plants. According to the article, the DCC representative declined to comment when asked whether that raid was linked to Chinese criminal organizations. In other words, the raid was not linked to Chinese criminal organizations, and he should have made that clear. I think really the headline for this article should have been political article tries to exploit anti-Chinese xenophobia. And this is all relevant in the context of yesterday's Twitter hearings where, you know, we're seeing a lot of like anti-China rabid, xenophobia. And it ends up hurting the Chinese Americans who live here, who are U.S. citizens. I think that this article is, just shows how small-minded the Chronicle is, and they should start doing some real investigation, writing better articles, and you can read the article on High at 9 News. This is the, let me finish up. The headline is Bay Area Cannabis Growth Linked to Chinese Organized Crime. This is Omar Figueroa, lawyer, publisher, and Ganjier instructor, reporting from Sonoma County, California, the traditional territory of the Pomo, Miwok, and Wapo nations, for High at 9, high noon Eastern.
Thank you so much, Omar, because Jason and Gretchen tried to poo-poo when I said the same damn thing about Politico, that I covered
in Oklahoma, and now it's happening. They're noticing it in Northern California. I think this is a serious problem, bro.
This is a bunch of fucking propaganda, dude.
I don't buy that. I'm not buying
a propaganda effort.
propaganda.
This is a propaganda effort, man. And one-sided articles talking about, oh yeah, they're tied to this, they're tied to that, but like, nah, man, they're just trying to. There's a shiny object, and they want to get you all revved up because they have problems with China. Their economy has problems with China. If you have so many problems with nations that have people that are not white, then just say it.
Stop it, bro. This is not propaganda. This is real shit that's going on. People are getting exploited. You know what I'm saying?
People are getting exploited regardless, whether it's a Russian mob.
Oh, so now you guys are fine with people getting exploited now all of a sudden.
No,
Right.
no.
They try to make a big fuss about the Mexican cartel. They try to make a big fuss about the Chinese running shit. But you know what? Like, how much Russian mobsters that you know in the game behind the scenes, like without naming names, like there's been a ton. Period. Illegal business.
Are you trying to say that I don't know any Asian gangsters in the scene? Is that what you're implying?
That's not what I said.
Well,
And
I
you know
mean,
what?
I feel
illegal
a little
business is
offended that you
illegal
think
business.
I would only
and
know
people are
one
getting exploited
race of
in
gangsters.
illegal business. Period. It has nothing to do with like, oh, we need to tie this to the CCP.
Bro,
like,
are you stop it. Stop.
But is there any truth to this? Come on, there's got to be some truth.
This is history repeating itself. American history
game.
repeating itself once again. Like when it's white gangsters running shit. Oh, it's cool. Let's make a bunch of cool ass movies about this shit and tell the fucking story. But when it's black, brown, or other running these running illegal industries, like, oh, we need to all be afraid. We need to go to war with them. Like, and we need to support them. Like, give me.
I don't know if anybody. I'm not buying whatever you're selling, Rico. Because
no, but you will go do a fucking movie. You will go to a white gangster movie.
Malarkey, okay? Because I can tell you what, the Asians have been growing weed. This is not like some new thing. This is something that they've been doing. Like I can remember back in the
Nobody's saying that.
back in the 90s. This was happening.
But this is a big. They're causing a big fucking scare about it because it's not white people running the shit.
No, that's
what's
not
going
why.
on.
That's not why they're doing it. Stop it. Stop the propaganda.
Well, I see anti-Chinese xenophobia, and that's why the Chronicle is trying to whip up this, yellow scare that somehow the Chinese are running all these illegal cannabis operations without any evidence. If they really had detailed evidence, fine. It's happening. We got to combat it. But this is just a bunch of, xenophobia, and it impacts Asian Americans who are not safe to walk in their streets of their own country. They're citizens just like us. We got to think about how it impacts other people too.
I agree with Omar. Not every Asian is Chinese.
That's 100% for
when
sure.
They start making links. Yeah, and when they start making links based on race and ethnicity, you've got to have a red flag. Not every brown person is Mexican.
How do we?
I am.
I have a question. How are we all assuming that this is all just put together by just the Asians over there or whatever? How do we not know that there's some arrest records or there's some actual like money ties, links to different triads or whatnot?
Why don't you ask the reporters that?
That's
instead of putting this shit out there without the fucking evidence.
Don't you have faith in the reporter that they would have?
Oh my God, Jason.
Diligence?
Oh my God, you have faith in the fucking reporters. Have faith in mainstream fucking media. Coming from you, of all people, Jason, from you. Come on.
It would have been in the article, Jason. They would have said this report is based on interviews and review of confidential files and review of XYZ. It would have been referred to in the article.
Look, all I'm saying is the story that we had yesterday in regards to this, where it was talking about with Oklahoma, there was clear law enforcement data showing
there wasn't.
That this was happening.
No, there wasn't. The dude said about 75%. There was no evidence of that. He said about 75%.
He has evidence
of all the illegal activity was tied to Chinese gangsters or the CCP. With no evidence. Platform to fucking say that. All this does is put more stigma on people of color. Period. All it does. When you don't have hard evidence because of that, and then what's going to happen 20 years from now? Oh, we were wrong for doing that. We were wrong when we said that. But who has benefited from that?
They got some evidence.
The military-industrial complex.
Stop it. They got some evidence.
No evidence.
Any thoughts on this, Gretchen, before we close out?
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
It's a wrap.
You know what? You guys haters over here.
Haters.
Oh, thank you all for getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big thank you to our audience and supporters for always tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Thank you all to all of our haters for talking about us, thinking about us, because we have the most immaculate pieces of property rent-free inside of your head. Thank you so much to our sponsors, iSpire, DNA Genetics, LAXCC, Highly Educated, and thank you all for Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this. Thank you to Cloud Media Partners, House of Fuego, Green Street, and of course, Zaza Simone Brown holding it down in Clubhouse. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. It's America's #1 daily cannabis news show.